Hello, I'm Shirumbi George. I'm glad you're watching, and I hope this finds you well. Wherever you are, after having your Sunday service this evening, I just want to share with you something little that I hope maybe it will be of benefit to you. And I'm very confident that it's going to leave you asking yourself questions, at least what you think of your life. I'm going live this having in mind with so many problems you are experiencing today in life, the life you're living, the people we relate to, and so many other stuffs that some are too personal to us that you can't even mention. But right now I'm going live on a topic. Life doesn't happen to you, you happen to your life. Life does not happen to you, but you happen to your life. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but the truth is, what this statement means is it's not anything that just happened. Whatever we are living today don't just happen from blues or from somewhere, or it was a miracle. It's an accumulative decisions that you've been making all along since you've been little children up to now. Basically, it's all about the decisions you make, day-to-day decisions, hour-to-hour decisions. There could be long-term decisions, short-term decisions. A decision is just a decision. It's about what you want to, the kind of results you want to have after deliberating on one or two or three things. It's so interesting because on daily basis, each and every minute, at one point or the other, you have to make a decision concerning what you're going to eat, how you're going to dress in the morning, the people you're going to talk to, the people you relate with. There are so numerous occasions that you have to make decisions. Some just happen instantaneously. Others, you have to sit down and deliberate, give it a thought before you come up with a conclusion, which is good because whatever you decide at the end of the day will have an effect on your life. So it's all about making decisions. But there's something else. It's not just the decisions we make, but there are always other factors that decides and determine how we are going to make those decisions. There are things that influence our lives. So whenever you're making a decision, what influences your life? Think about it. What influences the process that you undertake to make a decision? There could be you make a decision because you don't want it to affect anybody else. You make a decision because you are selfish-minded, it's all about you. You make a decision because you always think of others, not yourself. But those are factors that play a bigger role when you're making a decision. But let's face it, every decision you make, whether it's going to affect another person, affect yourself, in general, the person who is going to be affected at the end of the day is the person making a decision. Whether somebody has coerced you to make that decision, whether you made it because you want to please somebody, whether you made it because somebody was watching, whether you made it because you had no alternative but to make that decision. It doesn't matter. It happens that you will be the person to carry the burden of that decision at the end of the day. So when you're making a decision, you have to really and seriously think about the effect it's going to have on yourself and the people around you. Alternatively, that could come as a second thought. but especially you yourself and the way you want your life to be. You don't wake up in the morning and you find yourself living the life you're living. It's the decisions you've been making all along, one by one, in each and every situation that you find yourself in. You have to decide. Then at the end of the day, you are the one to be affected. Every decision, there is always an influencer, whether it's a personal interest or because we have interest of others. Definitely there will be an influencer, and that in that line you make that decision. So every decision has its effect and its consequences. Unfortunately, we do not choose the consequences that are going to befall us after we make a decision. Every consequence comes fully packaged with the decision you make, whether it's a small decision or a larger or a major decision that's going to have a longer effect on your life. The consequences are well packaged. You don't choose, it just happens. So when the consequences come, most of the time we forget that you are the very people who made the decision that has resulted in the consequences we are facing. There are various types of decision one can make. Like I said earlier, there are those we make on daily basis, affecting our daily routine, and there are those that are of short term, maybe for 1 week, 1 month. There are those that we decide for that's going to affect our lives in the long run, for 20 years, for 30 years. Decision like maybe a career, that's a long-term decision. A partner to get married to, that's a long-term decision. The kind of a job you want to do, that's a long-term decision. The kind of a business you want to engage yourself in, that's a long-term decision. But what you want to wear, what you want to eat, that's a day-to-day or daily basis decisions you have to make. And maybe where you want to be next week, if you're planning to travel or not, that's a short-term decision. But they have effects. There's something about short-term decisions. Whenever you make a short-term decision but you're having some difficulties to make, then that means you're not clear with your goals. So it's much easier for you to make a decision when you have a clarity of your goals. It becomes much less stressing than when you just decide you want to make a decision and you actually doesn't understand exactly what you want to achieve by making that decision. And the more difficult you start to experience while making some decisions, whether daily basis decisions or short-term decisions, then that means you're going to end up being stressed the entire day or much of the time that you're going to spend, because no vision brings a lot of confusion, and where there's no vision, definitely there's no goal. But you have a clear goal, what you want to dress, where you're going, the kind of the dress you want to put on, you know exactly what it is, and it becomes much easier for yourself. So having clarity of a goal in mind, it makes it easier for you to decide and to come up with a decision that its consequences are going to be of the positive effect, depending on the kind of a goal you're having. But when you've no goal and you're trying to make a decision, it will become much harder, more stressing, and much difficult to come up with a conclusion. And most probably the kind of a decision you might likely to come up with could have a negative effect on your life at the end of the day, bringing your life under a lot of stress. So for you to make your life so that you can live the kind of life you want, one of the things we are realizing here is you always have to be goal oriented. Every time you need to have a goal that you have to execute. realize that it's going to make things easier for you. But when you decide just to live your life the way it comes, what comes your way, you go with it, definitely your life is going to be very difficult. Now, when it comes to long-term decisions, that's now where the problem comes in. As I mentioned earlier, long-term decisions are things like your career, your spouse, where you want to stay, your future life, the kind of people you want to engage yourself with, the kind of friends you have. Definitely those are going to be the influencers. But there are other influencers like when you are choosing a career, whom are you choosing to place? Are you choosing a career because it's part of your passion, or because somebody is trying to pressure you to do that career? You're trying to fulfill somebody's dream. And most of the time this happens with our parents when it comes to the time of choosing careers. They want you to live their dreams. For example, if your parent wanted to be a doctor and he never made that, he tries to force you to become a doctor. If your parent wanted to be a lawyer and he's not that, he tries to force you to be a lawyer. And because you don't want to disagree with your father or make him feel unhappy, you choose that path. But at the end of the day, it's you the decision is going to affect. You're going to live with the consequences that will come after you make that decision, not your parents. That's just a choice you can make. Another one that's, I don't know if it's compulsory. The spouse you want to live with. The other decision you want to make. It also goes with time. Are you ready for that decision? Or are you trying to make that decision because you're in a rush? You're trying to catch up with others, or you're trying to maybe somebody is trying to make you feel like when you are getting old, something like that. What do you really want? Leave alone what other people think. What do you want with your life? What kind of a spouse do you really want? And by the way, do you really need a spouse? Because I probably think marriage is not meant for everyone. Maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me. But what do you really want? Because at the end of the day, it's you who's going to live that life, not me who's trying to maybe try to talk to you. It's not me, it's not your friend, it's not your brother, it's not your mother, it's not your father, it's not your cousin, it's not your sister who is going to live with that spouse. It's you. The kind of pressure you're getting from them is needless, because it's you who's going to live with that spouse. Now, that's one thing. Are you making a decision because you're trying to please somebody, or some people, or some quota of people somewhere? If you're really doing that, at the end of the day, you are going to have it rough. When you get married, when you're not ready, it will be difficult for you. You need divine intervention, maybe, to make it work. Do something when you are ready and you feel you are absolutely ready to go for it. Don't just wake up one morning and say, oh, today I want to get married so that my father or my mother or my friends can be at peace with me. No. Don't make a decision because you're pleasing other people. Make it because you feel it's time for you to do that, whatever you want to do. That's how you make your life. You don't get married at the end of the day after 10 years, 20 years, you say life is unfair. Yes, it's unfair, it's true, but that source of unfairness begins from somewhere. Most probably it's you, because you chose when you're not ready to choose. Another thing that plays a very important role when you're making a long-term decision is the information you have at hand. Do you really have enough information for you to make that kind of a decision in your life? How big that decision is going to affect your life? The impact is going to settle on you. Have you ever thought of that? What kind of information do you have? When you're making a decision about a business engagement, you are about to make a major decision about a purchase or a sale. Do you really have enough information concerning whatever you want to decide? Or are you trying to rely on other people that you just maybe trust? Not all people are supposed to be trusted. There are people out there who are just out to make or maybe to harvest where they have not done any work. So, do you have enough information? You're buying a car. Do you have full details of the car you want to buy? Who is the owner? Most probably, maybe how many people have used that car. So important. Do you know why somebody is selling you that car? Is it because you want to buy another car, or maybe it has a problem that he's trying to put away? So he's trying to pass over the problem to you. Do you have enough information about what's happening before you make that decision? Do you have enough information about a family life, a marriage life? Do you have enough information about the career you want to get yourself in? Do you have enough information about the people you are relating yourself with? What's their intention? What's their goal? What are they out there to achieve? Do you have any information about it? So whenever you're making that long-term decision, think about information you have. If you don't, it's upon you to go and do a lot of research and get enough information. Then you can come up with a conclusion. Then there's another factor that plays when you're making a decision. Is it because of ignorance or not?
What?
Is it because of ignorance or not? Is it okay? You know what is happening and you're just going to make that decision anyway? Or just trying to ignore the information you already have and just going ahead with that decision anyway? Are you trying just to be ignorant of what is happening around you and go ahead and make that decision because maybe you want to prove a point to somebody? It's okay, but bear in mind that it's you that decision is going to affect at the end of the day, nobody else. Think of it. Just think of it. This is basically about our lives. Yes, how you want your life to be. It's all about the future you have in mind. Don't just do it to please others. Think of it of yourself. Think in terms of the kind of life you're going to live in 10 years to come. Don't think of pleasing other people. Always have the right information at your desk before you make that decision. Stop being ignorant. Sometimes it's because of ego that we want to do things even though we know exactly what could happen to us, but you think when you do it you're hurting somebody else. That's why we go wrong. You hurt yourself more. They don't get hurt. They move on with their lives. You are left behind hurting and regretting why you did that. There are other factors that you also need to be aware of. One, check the people around you. what's the intention? Why are they around you in the first place? What do they want from you? Because it's in our nature that we always want something from somebody. Don't tell me you relate with me when I really don't want anything out of you. I'm always out for a favor, and that's in our nature, whether we like it or not. That's true. So what is their intention? Do you know? You just have to get to know what intention do these people have around you, and what do they want in life anyway. Even if they don't want it from you, what do they want in life? Is that what you want? If that's what you want, so okay, get along, because you have the same goal, you're moving the same destination, you can keep each other company. But whatever they want in life is not in line with what you want. What are you doing with them? Please get off that bus. It's not meant for you. The other things that you also need to be aware of is environment, because it's environment that nurtures us. It brings us into who we are today. We tend to be like our families. We tend to be like people from our villages, from our communities. We tend to think like them. That's why even today tribalism in Kenya is so hard to end, because that's the environment we've been nurtured in. We think superiorly of our communities, our tribes, more than other communities or tribes. With that kind of thinking, you're just part of what you've been raised to believe. Equally, the people you relate with, the environment you find yourself with, that's the environment that is going to nurture you, and that's exactly how you're going to think. Think like them, walk like them, make decisions like them, look at life the way they look at it. I hope that's the kind of life you want. Maybe you can still go ahead with it. By the end of the day, their behavior will always be your behaviors. Their state will be your state. You will be not any different from them, not even an inch. So, just to conclude, this is how I'm going to end. Just to remind you the topic. Life does not happen to you. You happen to your life. You happen to your life with the decisions you make, the environment you get yourself in, the people you find yourself around. So always just put in mind that you make your life. You just don't get into life the way it is. The situation you are in today, think of it so hard. You will realize that you made that decision. The state you are in today, think so hard about it. You realize that you made that decision. And as much as there are other factors that play around that you have no control over, it is also good. It trains you how to react and respond to some things that are happening around you. But the major part that's playing and is responsible for where you are today, think so hard. You realize that it's partly the decisions you made maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, or 1 year ago, that you are here today. It's not by fate. It's not by chance. It was deliberate. You may not have been aware of it, but that's the truth. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I'm glad that you took your time to get along with me. So any comment, contribution, please